Hello, my name is Sarah, and this is my presentation on the Jack in the Box E. coli outbreak. Step 1. Background information. In 1993, an outbreak of E. coli was detected in Seattle, Washington, and this was traced to a Jack in the Box in Seattle that was serving undercooked hamburgers contaminated with E. coli, and as a result, over 600 people fell ill and 4 children died. Step 2. Analyze the current situation. Strengths. Jack in the Box hired a food safety expert, which was really good because it helped them get a better understanding of the situation and ensure that the food that they were serving was safe. Um, Weaknesses. Jack in the Box had been warned about the undercooked hamburgers prior to the outbreak, so they were aware that the hamburgers were being undercooked, yet they decided to keep cooking them that way because they thought that that cooking them to the recommended 155 degrees would make the meat tough. For opportunities, new food inspection systems. New food inspection systems provide uh, an opportunity to get a better understanding of the current situation. The federal government proposed a new inspection system called the Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, which would require microbial testing to detect harmful bacteria like E. coli. And then threats. The meat industry is a threat because it is constantly pushing back against efforts to implement new meat safety initiatives. Step 3. Prioritize core issues. So, um, cattle were being raised in environments that allowed for the spread of E. coli through feces, and then the meat from these cattle were sent to Jack in the Box, where the employees would undercook the hamburgers, which meant that the E. coli in the meat would not die. And so, when the customers ate those hamburgers, they were exposed to E. coli. Analyze alternatives. So, looking at the Jack in the Box E. coli outbreak through the public health communication model, step 1 in the model is planning and strategy development. So, in this case, Jack in the Box hired a food and safety expert. And then for step 2, developing and testing concepts, messages, and materials. At first, they tried to pin the blame on the companies that provided them with the meat, but that approach did not work. So they backtracked and took responsibility, but convinced the public that the food poisonings were isolated incidents. And then step 3, implementation. So Jack in the Box replaced 28,000 pounds of contaminated meat with new meat, and they also made the change to cook the meat to 155 degrees. And then step 4, evaluation and improvements. After the changes were made, cases went down, and customers returned to Jack in the Box. So, an alternative action would be to be honest with the public from the beginning in order to avoid backtracking and losing public trust. And then another alternative would be to establish new regulations on meat and poultry inspections, like with the hazard analysis and critical control points. Step 5, provide recommendations. So one recommendation would be to establish routine inspections on meat and poultry, like with the HACCP. Another recommendation would be to continue to improve food safety systems, um, even in times when there is not crisis, because it would be a great way to continue to maintain the standard for food safety, as well as ensuring that an outbreak like this does not happen in the future and being prepared in the case that it does. Another recommendation would be to create a crisis management plan, and this is in order to have a clear plan of action and not in order to avoid backtracking. And then another recommendation would be to remain transparent with the public and be honest about what is going on with the meat so that everybody knows how to act in this situation. Step 6, establish an action plan. So, as soon as possible, investigate the situation and find the cause of the outbreak, and then pause the sale of the contaminated meat. and create and implement a crisis management plan. A goal should be set that by the following year, so in this case it would be 1994, there will be no cases due to contaminated meat. And in the next 2 years following the crisis, so by 1995, federal policies should be in place to regulate meat inspections. And in the years and decades following the crisis, ongoing research should be conducted with the goal of improving food safety systems. And step 7, finalize and add your opinion. The Jack in the Box E. coli outbreak was unfortunate, yet valuable learning experience. I believe that food safety is an important contributor to public health and therefore should be a priority. And I will be more cautious about the meat that I eat in the future and making sure that it is cooked properly. And these are my references. Thank you.